Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers Stock Watch, Wr. Van Jefferson. Don't look now, but Van Jefferson might actually be relevant this season. A week after securing a ball for his father's mantle, the veteran had his best game of the season. On 5 targets, he caught 4 passes against the Giants for 62 yards. That included a long of 36 yards, which is more than he gained in any entire game through 7 weeks. At the halfway point, Jefferson now has 14 receptions for 139 yards and a touchdown. Over just the past 2 weeks, however, he has 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. If he continues that pace over the second half of the season, he will catch 27 balls over the final 9 games for 347 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, Van Jefferson is probably not going to catch a touchdown pass every other game. But can he average 3 catches for 39 yards over a 9-game stretch? I certainly think he can if the Steelers use him. Use him in the passing game, that is. Even though he has played 359 snaps, Jefferson only has 21 targets on the year. That's because he is the Steelers' primary blocking wide receiver. In fact, he typically plays 60 to 85% of the snaps per game. Given how much he plays, it will be no surprise if the Steelers start finding Jefferson more. While he has not been stellar in getting open consistently or creating separation, he is improving. WR coach Zach Azzanni emphasized that his recent successes are about his own progress, not Russell Wilson. Whatever the reason for it, though, the Steelers need it to continue, if not accelerate. Dianna Russini is sending out new speculation surrounding the Steelers' potential plans before the trade deadline on November 5. It seems obvious that Pittsburgh is doing its best to acquire a receiver. Many names have been thrown out there, but Russini's new set of names packs some freshness. She mentioned a handful of names, which included a couple of new options. I think the Steelers are trying to do something. Why don't I rip through some of the receivers that the Steelers could possibly look at? Let's just say they have a board. I don't think they have a board, but let's say they have a board. Darius Slayton, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Demarcus Robinson, KJ Osborne, Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne, said Russini. She appeared on the Scoop City podcast on October 25. That is where she made some claims about the Steelers' trade activity leading up to the trade deadline. We know Pittsburgh hasn't shied away from attacking different trade options in the past, and it seems like they could continue that trend. They want an upgrade at receiver, and it seems like no leaf will be left unturned in their search. I think I'll be ready. See Zach Frazier shooting 4 Steelers return versus Commanders. Pittsburgh Steelers rookie Zach Frazier stepped into the starting lineup immediately, sidelined recently only by an ankle injury. And he should be making his return shortly, thanks to a previous injury, which likely prevented a season-ending one this time. After missing the past 2 games, he plans to return to the field after the bye against the Washington Commanders. That's what I'm shooting for, Frazier told Tim Benz, when asked about potentially playing in the Steelers' next game. He described himself as optimistic about being able to return, which would mean missing just 2 games. A second-round pick out of West Virginia, Zach Frazier started the first 6 games of the season. He played every single snap for the Steelers before suffering an ankle injury in the second half in Week 6. Ryan McCullum has filled in since he went down and performed ably. But getting Frazier back in the starting lineup would be a big boost. Prior to his injury, he was arguably the Steelers' best lineman, which is impressive for a rookie. They prioritized upgrading at the center position this offseason, and he certainly fit the bill. While the Steelers are on their bye, Zach Frazier doesn't plan on going anywhere. He said he was going to stay in Pittsburgh to rehab his injury with an aim toward playing against the Commanders. That is the goal, he said. I'm getting better every day. Sticking with the rehab and trusting it. I think I'll be ready. Considering that the Steelers have already lost 2 starting linemen to more serious injuries, they could certainly use Zach Frazier. Fellow rookie RT Troy Fautanu went down with a knee injury in practice after making his first NFL start. A few weeks later, RG James Daniels suffered a season-ending injury. The Steelers also played the first 4 games without LG Isaac Seumalo, though he has since hit his stride. All things considered, the Steelers' line has held up surprisingly well without continuity. That is a credit to guys like McCullum and Mason McCormick, who stepped in after guys like Frazier and Daniels went down. As a team, the Steelers have put up over 400 yards of offense over the last 2 weeks without Frazier. They have averaged over 250 passing yards and over 150 rushing yards during that time. That's not to say that they can't produce at the same level with Frazier back, of course. The bigger variable is obviously Russell Wilson entering the starting lineup at quarterback. But that is yet another center quarterback pairing that the Steelers will have to adjust to. Many blame Justin Fields for previous issues, but Frazier wasn't blameless either. It's all a part of the process of a rookie learning in the NFL. Steelers WR trade candidate likely on the move after Thursday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers have expressed interest in trading for a wide receiver since the 2024 offseason, and with the clock ticking until the NFL trade deadline, there's more incentive than ever to make something happen. While Calvin Austin III is coming off a career game that included 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 special teams TD, and Van Jefferson showed signs of life in Week 8, the Steelers are desperately in need of an upgrade at the position. Recently, ESPN insider Jeremy Fowler reported that New York Jets WR Mike Williams could be on the move after Thursday Night Football. The Jets are hosting the Houston Texans on TNF in Week 9. After suffering yet another loss, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have fallen to 2-6 on the season. With a loss tonight, Fowler believes New York will make Williams available for trade. As badly as Pittsburgh could use a wide receiver upgrade, they shouldn't go selling the house to land Mike Williams before the NFL trade deadline. Williams was once a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, but those days are long behind him. Since the end of the 2022 season, the 30-year-old wideout has combined for just 409 yards and 1 touchdown over the past 2 seasons. This is largely thanks to an ACL injury that ended his 2023 campaign after just 3 games. Still, this means he has averaged a mere 37.1 yards per game over the past 2 seasons. Williams has clearly lost a step on tape since the knee injury, which is never a good sign for a player who wasn't fast to begin with. While Williams still has size on his side and can win some contested balls in traffic, he struggles to separate and yards after the catch are virtually non-existent. At this stage of his career, Williams may be a slight upgrade over Van Jefferson as the boundary receiver opposite George Pickens. If a trade doesn't cost much more than a late-round pick swap, by all means, make a move. But the Pittsburgh Steelers need to be careful not to give up too much for an aging receiver who may not have much left in the tank. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Mike Williams? Leave your opinion in the comments.